Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 2. We're going to do a little bit more time traveling in this episode. But before we do that, I have a few questions for you to consider and meditate on, journal about. Now, how easy is it for you have you noticed how easy it is for you to serve and love other people while quietly abandoning and neglecting yourself? You overextend, you overgive, you say yes when you mean no, and then you wonder why you feel so exhausted, not just in your relationships, but, in everyday life. When you wake up and you're still tired. Well, what if the true measure of success in life is not about how much you achieve, how admired you are, or how productive you become? But what if true success as a human creature is not about all of those measurable outcomes, those analytics, but how well you practice the art and master the art of true love every single day? And yes, it is an art to be mastered. And yes, it is work. Now, all the ancient teachings, Hebrew, Greek, Asian, ancient wisdom, they all agree on something that's really powerful and practical. You must first learn to take good, loving care of yourself. That's where the overflow comes from. And that's how your light shines so bright. So today we're going to reclaim that blueprint so you can design a life of love that actually transforms the world, starting with your world. Welcome to episode 2. And yes, we are going to do a little bit of time traveling again to explore new ways of intentionally designing what I personally call an extraordinary, ordinary life of love. I've been to so many seminars and events where they talk about extraordinary living, but I have learned, and I want to share this with you as a gift, that an extraordinary life is actually a quite ordinary, simple life of love. That's where that soul prosperity comes from. And I truly believe that this kind of lifestyle, when it's practiced intentionally, can be mastered over time. It's the only real human success. There we go. That's where I was going with that. It's the only real human success. That's what kind of creatures we are. We were made for and by love and designed to overflow that love, starting from deep within. It's not about status or money or recognition, but learning how to love well. Now, when you practice love, I'm talking daily, tiny, small, disciplined ways throughout your days, that accumulation that I talked about in episode 1. You are shining your beautiful, unique light, and you are making this world a better place, one tiny act of loving kindness at a time. And that's what overflows into true success in all of human life, a life and legacy of love. And that's what we're building here. In episode 1, we explored some ancient Hebrew concepts. So we're doing a little bit of time travel now, just thinking about episode 1. We talked about the Hebrew word Ahavah and Hesed. And Ahavah is love expressed through action and commitment. It's not just emotion, it's about choice. Now, Hesed is a steadfast, loving kindness. It's loyal, it's covenantal, it stays, it shows up, and it doesn't waver easily. Real love is intentional, relational, and practiced. And it starts with you, that wonderful work of art in the mirror that you see every day. Now, we expanded that foundation with a trip to ancient Greece because the Greeks, they didn't reduce love to one word. They understood the complexity of it, the Eros, the passionate, desirous love, the Philia, the friendship, loyalty, those shared values, the Storge, that's that warm, cozy, familial affection that you sometimes might even feel for your very best friends. And then, of course, agape. That's that divine, that selfless, unconditional love that we're all capable of with this practice. And the ancients recognized that love is layered and multifaceted. It is relational and intentional and ethical, always with the interest of the beloved as the primary objective. And each of all these forms of love, it requires practice toward maturity. It's an art and it can be mastered. But here's the key. None of these expressions of love are sustainable if you're not well within yourself. You cannot sustain the friendship kind of love. Think about this. If you're resentful of yourself, yes, and unaccepting of yourself, And you cannot offer agape love if you're chronically exhausted and depleted. Ain't nobody got time for that when you're just exhausted. And ancient wisdom assumed, self-awareness. Are you aware of yourself? And disciplined self-care. All of these were character traits that were a part of loving well. Now, if we travel east, backwards in time, ancient Confucian philosophy comes to mind because love is rooted in a concept it's called Ren, R-E-N, which means human heartedness. I keep mentioning the type of creatures that we are. We are human beings made for love, by love, to be love and overflow love. And this concept emphasizes harmony, coming together and responsibility in relationships, including your relationship with yourself. And before you harmonize with others, you cultivate this type of harmony and peace within. You refine your character and you strengthen your integrity. You practice attentiveness and tiny but mighty acts of kindness. You are aware of others and opportunities to live out the art of love. And you're seeking, this is very important, you're seeking, you're finding, and you're celebrating what's good, no matter how tiny. It's like becoming a gratitude detective, as we say in the Happiness Squad community, because no matter how tiny, it's worth celebrating if it's good. And it's about the simplicity and the beauty of gratitude and appreciation, honoring one another and honoring yourself by taking good care, unapologetically taking good care of yourself to create and forge those fires of harmony and peace within. Now, the ancient Eastern philosophies, they also teach how love takes on the form of compassion. But compassion begins inwardly. It's a skill and a practice of grace towards yourself first, compassion overflowing to others. You learn to sit with your own suffering gently, honor what you're feeling, don't chase it away or try to squash it. You respond to your mistakes with patience and grace, because if you can't extend compassion to yourself, your compassion towards others is going to eventually feel heavy and resentful, like a burden that you don't have the desire or the strength to carry. Now, across cultures, we're talking Hebrew, Greek, and Asian, the ancient message is consistent. Love is a practice skill, and it must be practiced within before it overflows outward. So there we are. We're finished with our time traveling and study of love. We're going to come back into this present moment here, right now, to consider something subtle but so powerful. It's a concept that I call tiny self-betrayals. I know that that's negative, but it's just so important to understand this. Think about this. Tiny self-betrayals. And these are the small, tiny moments where you abandon yourself. And it's time now to stop running from yourself. You can tell from all of those ancient concepts that real love is work and you are worth the work. And when I talk about self-betrayals, I'm talking about those moments when you skip resting, even when you're exhausted. And, resting doesn't have to be a big, huge thing. It can be a tiny thing, a moment of meditation where you just close your eyes and you take a deep, calming breath. And you calm that vagus nerve, calm everything down. That's a moment of rest. It's a tiny but mighty moment of love and self-nurturing, and you can do that anytime. And these tiny moments of self-care and self-nurturing, they fight back the damage caused by tiny self-betrayals. Those times when you're saying yes, this is a self-betrayal. You're saying yes when your whole body is saying no. You suppress your needs. You don't understand your own needs or what you want, and you suppress your needs to avoid disappointing someone else. It's a disservice to you and it's a disservice to them. And individually, these micro betrayals, they seem harmless, but repeated daily, there's that accumulation again, moment by moment accumulation. They erode your strength and they tear away at your joy. And here is the deeper truth. If you want to experience true peace in love, you must learn to be on your own team. You hear me? Every minute of every day. That means you advocate for yourself. You protect your well-being. You guard your heart, your mind, your strength, your energy, and you speak to yourself with kindness and honor, respect and dignity. Now, if you refuse to silently sabotage your own happiness and your peace and your joy, you're going to find that that sadness and that rain cloud stays over you. But now it's time to refuse to do that unapologetically. You will not sabotage your own peace, your own happiness and joy with those tiny self-betrayals. And you decide today, please, you are on your own team so that you stop creating that internal division and that cause you to feel so exhausted because you are literally at war with yourself all day long, every day. That internal division, it always leaks into your relationships and it shows up as resentment and discontent and over functioning or people pleasing. That's how it's mostly called, but it's over functioning. You are doing too much for everyone else and neglecting yourself. And it can also cause you to feel just really withdrawn from everyday life instead of being able to seek and find and celebrate what's good, no matter how tiny. An extraordinary, ordinary life of love requires inner unity, harmony, love, self-compassion, and grace. And you cannot master love outwardly while inwardly betraying yourself. Self-care and self-nurturing are never selfish. They are a foundational discipline. It's a foundational discipline for designing your life of peace, love, and abiding, lasting joy. And there's something that's equally important. You don't have to master this alone. It's actually a mistake. I mean, ancient traditions valued mentorship. I think of how in the Bible, it says that in Proverbs 18, that the one who isolates rages against all wisdom. And you don't want to rage against wisdom. You want to remember that you're not meant to do this alone. Healing and health and love, it's all designed for community, mentorship, having a pastor, a philosopher, a rabbi, a teacher, an elder, a mentor to come alongside you, a guide, a coach to get wisdom. Because when things become difficult, and they will, I think about how Jesus, he promised this: in this world, you will have trouble. But he didn't say you might have trouble. He said you will have trouble, followed by be of good cheer because I've overcome the world and you are an overcomer. So when you meet someone outside of your own emotional weather who can help you to see clearly, have a mentor or someone that you trust, someone safe, someone who reminds you of your values, someone who calls you back into alignment. Getting help, mental health is so important and so wise. Have a psychologist that you meet with, a therapist, someone who strengthens your resolve when you're tired and discouraged and you are just tired of living this life exhausted. If you want to design a life of love, that's a long-term discipline, and support accelerates and supports your growth. Guidance from a safe and trusted mentor can help you identify all of your blind spots, help you find your limiting beliefs, and offer encouragement to keep things moving forward, even when things are at their very worst. Now, at this point, you might be wondering how you can get started right now. I mean, today. And if you're ready, I have some of my favorite tiny habits to share with you, inspired by my mentor, created by my mentor, Dr. BJ Fogg at the Stanford Behavior Design Lab. Now, Tiny Habits is a method that we teach to offer simple ways that work for all areas of life, including your identity shift toward a life of lasting peace, love, and joy. Now, tiny habits, they're simple and they're powerful, just like real love. Real love is meant to be simple and powerful. And my favorite one is a habit we prescribe as coaches, and it's a powerful seed of hope to start the new day. We call it the Maui habit because my mentor, Dr. Fogg, he invented it while in Maui. Now, here's how it goes. After you put your feet on the floor, first thing in the morning, say out loud, "It's gonna be a great day." Yeah, you see, I struck that power pose automatically. This is one I do every day. It's gonna be a great day. Now, this tiny celebration, you always follow with a tiny celebration. Do a happy dance, raise your both hands to the heavens, and receive a fresh infusion of hope for the new day. Or how about after you reach for your cell phone, pause and ask, "How am I really?" Then celebrate by taking a deep, calming breath to celebrate your choice to put yourself first on the to-do list? That simple question. Now, this next one is for my fellow coffee drinkers. Now, after you, now you can feel free to swap this out for tea or whatever your morning beverage is. But say one affirmation out loud. I matter. I can rest. I'm learning. I'm loved. Yeah, do that tiny celebration, or just say one sentence of gratitude and appreciation, and then you celebrate that. Always remember to breathe. And you can celebrate with a smile, or give yourself a big hug, or both. Now, in addition to creating these new self-nurturing, loving habits, remember to create one nourishing boundary. Just one. Baby steps matter. A nourishing boundary in your life so you always have time to take good care. Do what you can to protect your energy and your time in a small but meaningful way. And these are specific and ordinary, extraordinary acts, powerful acts of love. Extraordinary, ordinary. Remember that. That's love. And when you practice them daily and regularly, you create internal safety. Think about this concept. Internal safety. You are safe for yourself, and you can start healing the damage that's caused by tiny self-betrayals. And when you feel safe within yourself, your love becomes generous instead of desperate and afraid. And if you're ready to pay it forward, you can literally share the love in tiny but mighty ways. After practicing even one of the tiny habits above, you can just reach out to one person, just one. Send a text message, leave a voice message or a DM on social media. Make a short phone call. Tell them, I see you. You matter. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're in my life. This is not about performing, but it's sincere and it's from the heart. And when you're on your own team, know this. Your love is not draining. It produces energy. It doesn't take from you. It overflows. And this is how you build an extraordinary, ordinary life of love, not through grand gestures, but through consistent, disciplined, tiny, but mighty, accumulating acts of love. And that's what makes love last and creates a legacy. Not the big grand gestures of love or the multi-million-dollar weddings. It's the tiny, consistent acts of love that accumulate and matter the most. And please remember these concepts. Ahavah, love is a choice. Hesed, love stays committed because you're on the same team. First, on the same team with yourself. No more micro betrayals. And think about that Greek wisdom, that love has so many dimensions, and the ancient wisdom that teaches us that love is cultivated, it is work, and honoring yourself and one another really matters. All of this teaches us that we can master love within so it can overflow outward. Now, as a follower of Jesus, I want to share with you something that one of my faith mentors, the late Dallas Willard, he's a philosopher, he taught me that Jesus, he doesn't call you to do what he did, but to be as he was, permeated with love, so that the doing of what he said and did becomes the natural expression of who you are in him. That is real success. That's real influence. And that is how you shine your beautiful light, grow strong in the superpower of kindness, and make the world a better place, one tiny but mighty act at a time. And remember, it's never about perfection. That's not what kind of creatures we are. That's impossible. But it's always about faithfulness. Be loving, be true, take care, and it will overflow into every area of your life. Now, if this resonated with you, then please tell me about it in the comments. What things about love have most stayed and impacted your life? We can learn together. And what tiny act will you practice today? What tiny habit will you start today? Starting with healthy, loving self-care and self-nurturing. And every time you succeed, no matter how tiny, please just celebrate the fact that you are building something beautiful and that no act of loving kindness is too small. Thank you for sharing the journey with me here. And I hope and I pray that you will have a wonder-filled and fun time designing your extraordinary, ordinary life and legacy of love. Love yourself well and reclaim that legacy of love, peace, and joy. And thank you again for sharing the journey with me.